With 35 years working in public education, Sharon Bolle has experienced the daily activity of being at a school site to bearing the responsibility of overseeing the Student Services Division at county schools. As she prepares to retire in August, her legacy will be one of her constant mantra of doing what's best for kids. For her devoted service in public education as a school psychologist, district administrator, and county administrator, Bolle has truly had a distinguished career in public education. Beginning her career in public education as a school psychologist, Bolle found the work both rewarding and what she expected to do for the rest of her career. Her strong knowledge of educational issues, however, resulted in her being recruited into district administration. Still, keeping the daily connection with students has never been far from her focus, especially since she came to the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools in 1995. Randy Elphick, an area director for county schools, said Bolle's management style and knowledge base served the most needy students best. Sharon has built a relationship of trust with all of our partners, with the end result of providing quality educational programs to our students, Elphick wrote in Bolle's nomination. In 2007, Bolle was named Assistant Superintendent for County Schools. She helped county schools, juvenile court schools, to be recognized as a model state program. She oversaw the development of a mental health clinic when the County Department of Behavioral Health no longer was going to be providing services. That phrase of doing what's best for our students has been the guidepost for Bolle to provide every opportunity for academic achievement for county schools students.
Well, Sharon has a lot of great qualities, but what comes to mind the most, I think, for her is, number one, her knowledge. She is so knowledgeable about education in general, and for us, in the county office, we're so diverse. She has to know everything from alternative ed, juvenile court schools, community day schools, to our state preschool programs, to early childhood education, and then everything in our very diverse special education programs.
So. Sharon knows our program so well. You know, she's out in the classrooms. She knows people on a first name basis. So when people are, email her from Northern California with questions, she has the answers because she's been there, and her knowledge is incredible of our programs.
And I was a school psychologist in a district in LA County. Loved my job, loved working with the kids. One day the district office came and said, Sharon, you're no longer going to work at the school site. You're now in charge up at the district office, and you're going to do special ed and child welfare and attendance and the nurses and some other programs. And I said, well, thank you very much for that offer. I'm really not interested. I love working with the kids. And they said, this isn't multiple choice, Sharon, you're coming. So that's how I got into administration, and I learned that there are a lot of rewards in the role of administrator as well as there are working directly with the kids. There still is an opportunity to make a difference and to have an influence on programs. And ending my career as assistant superintendent of student services, where I have the opportunity to work with the most at-risk and vulnerable kids in the county, with the special education, the alternative education, and the state preschool kids. And I love my job because I love those kids.
The organization, she has a tremendous talent to be able to truly collaborate, but just make people feel very comfortable. That people always say that you can have a wealth of knowledge, but if you have your presentation is not one that nobody wants to listen to you, what's it worth? Sharon has the ability to take the knowledge that she has, and people want to listen, and she's able to share that way. So that's a great skill.
She is able to bring people into the discussion, so they have ownership, so they feel that they had their say and they're heard, and that's what is good about Sharon. She's able to hear what people say, take that information, and try to put that into part of the decision making. And I think that's where we really get a lot of the win-win in our organization.
Style. When there's a challenge, it's how can we solve this so that it's going to be a win for everybody that's involved. And it takes a lot of listening. I think my record was an angry parent who came in and told the secretary she didn't talk to somebody now. And the secretary tried to make her an appointment and said, no, let her come in. She really does need to talk to somebody now. She talked for literally 2 hours straight without taking a breath. At the end of 2 hours, when I could finally get a word in edgewise, she said to me, you know, I feel so much better now. I've had that inside for so long, and nobody's ever let me talk about it. But since I took the opportunity to listen, I got the whole context of what is it that she's really upset about, and we were able to solve her dilemma in a way that worked for her and worked for the school in a win-win way.
We've had a lot of interesting times together through my 30 years and the time that she's been here. Probably the most fun and what always seems to surface to the top for me is that you have a group of teachers and staff that works out in the schools, works in our classes, but yet the county office has the whole classified side, the whole element at 601. You know, everybody that supports what we do. But a lot of times there was a real disconnect of people understanding how important student services as an organization was to, you know, San Bernardino County schools. So at one of the big staff meetings that the superintendent hosted one year, Sharon was able to convince some of her principals and myself to go as the group from the Wizard of Oz. So you had the lion, and you had Tin Man, and you had the Wizard of Oz, and you had the straw scarecrow, and Dorothy. And we, in a fun way, we were able to share, you know, who we were, what we did, but you know those people remembered it. And that's kind of the way Sharon would work. We would have fun, kind of stand out a little bit, but have a very important message.
When I first started working for Sharon in the county, she was the area director, and we would bring back the teachers on the teacher return day. And not only would we provide them with information, but we did it in a fun way. We sang to them, we danced, we did skits on the stage. It was a welcoming way for teachers to come back after their summer vacation. They enjoyed it, they got their information, they felt fired up for the school year. And that's what really developed, I believe, the family atmosphere that we have in our county schools.
Well, I'm very proud of the staff. They are very specialized, they're highly trained, they're very dedicated, they're very caring, and they've done a lot of great things.